Hi, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. We have been waiting for this day. We've talked about Halloween every week, saying, should we talk about it now? And then we said, oh no, let's wait closer to Halloween. So here we are. And I'm wondering, do we say Halloween or Halloween? Because I think on the East Coast we say one, and in the Midwest we say another, but I have no idea which one. So I'm going with I don't know what I'm going with. Halloween tends to be controversial. Now, we learned that a few years ago when we put up an article that arguably was controversial in and of itself. We didn't really find it offensive, but so many people did. And then in that very long chain of people telling us why it was offensive, we heard so many reasons that had never occurred to me that I just want to share, because I think Halloween is loaded. And it's like just really fascinating. So one of them is, I think we as adults find a group of teenagers like up to trouble. They're up to no good. And so when they show up at our house for candy, we're a little bit worried. Like in the article that this person wrote, they were a little worried that if they didn't give candy, their house would be egged the next day. Now, there is some reality to this. There is a group mentality that happens with people, and teenagers in particular, that it is a little unnerving to kind of like wonder, is this going to go somewhere south? Anyway, so that was the first one. The second one was that parents of kids with disabilities, this is the one night where they get to take their kids out and have them do the same thing that all the other kids are doing, and they're not always welcomed. Because again, I think it comes more from a place of fear. I think all of these things that we do come from a place of fear, but this one is like, I don't really understand your child. Should I be scared of your child? I don't know how to interact with your child. Anyway, that was one of the things. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about is there were a lot of comments about people coming from other neighborhoods. And it's such a statement of how we feel about people who look different than we look. That again, there's some kind of suspicion and fear that someone has taken the time to come to your neighborhood and they're just up to no good. Anyway, we have shied away from this conversation because we got beaten up so much. If you're listening to us right now, we're going to just bear it all, our own experiences. I put out candy every year, but no one ever comes, and it kind of breaks my heart because I'm one of those neighborhoods where we don't really have such an active Halloween, and so people do drive their kids to other neighborhoods. But put yours in the comments if you have anything you want to add. And we're going to start with Sharon.
Hi, everybody. I am actually super easygoing about Halloween. I love lots of people coming to my house. My old neighborhood would have 400 kids a night. I mean, it was nonstop, and it was wonderful. And some of the people probably weren't from our neighborhood, and I didn't care, because the whole point of it is to be out in public and to go up to other people's houses. And I mean, it's not for your friends and family. That's what other holidays are for. When you invite people into your house, it's outdoors. I just love that. And, I now have at least one who's too old to celebrate Halloween by trick-or-treating. At least that's what he and his friends have decided. So I like to have them come over. I mean, I feel like just because even if you think you're too old for the trick-or-treating fun, it's a day to get together and do something. It would be kind of sad to be, just doing nothing. So anyway, I guess I'm pro everybody on Halloween. So I will pass it down to Jen.
I get really super excited when I get teens at my door dressed up, even if they're just a little bit dressed up, because I have this pang of a memory of one of my kids going to a middle school dance that was held over Halloween weekend. And they said, dress up, wear your costume. And she did. And she was one of 4 people in that whole gym who wore their costumes. And she just felt so disappointed, maybe a little embarrassed. It's just like, it's such a letdown. It's such a creative holiday. You can do so many fun things with it. You could be, as they get to be teens, they get to be pretty clever and snarky with their costumes. And I actually really like to see what they do. Half of them dress up as memes that I don't know what they are. And sometimes I get it explained to me and I'm like, oh, all right, I guess if that was good for you, I'm glad. So I have no problem with kids of any age or ability coming to my door. I do like it if they try to be funny with their costume. That's a plus. But you're getting candy from me because I don't want it sticking around because then I will eat it. So come on, everybody come to my house. Eka, over to you.
Good morning. So I'm going to start off with bah humbug. I'm not a big fan of Halloween. I don't understand so my whole thing is we spend so much time.
I just want to say we're so consistent. We're so predictable at this point. Thank you, Eka. Yay, Eka.
The contrarian. Here's my thing. We spend so much time telling our kids, stay away from strangers, don't take candy from strangers, safe, safe, safe. And then we send them out encumbered with costumes and bags and masks and whatever, and tell them to go to strangers' door and ask them for candy. So to me, it's like, seriously, this is what we're doing all this time. So to me, it feels like it negates everything I've taught my kids. The other thing is, if I want them to eat candy, I will buy it for them. So now we have this whole fight about going through the candy and sorting it. I don't like this. Can you trade me for this? She has more than I do. All of that. Don't like it. But my girls were blessed to have a father who loves Halloween. So he would spend weeks making costumes for them while I sat around and with my snarky comments and scowls. And he made them things like bathtubs where they were the rubber duck in the bathtub, or the toilet bowl where the toilet opened and the candy went in there, and boxes of popcorn. So anyway, so they had that great dad while their mother stayed home and had to answer the door and be like, what are you? So anyway, that's my thing. I'm going to pass it to Mindy.
Thanks, Eka. I love your honesty. I appreciate that. We have lived in a number of places where we have had tons of kids, some nights, very few other nights, depending on where we lived. I have no issue with Halloween. Actually, I do not enjoy growing up because I'm growing up, dressing up. I don't enjoy growing up either. I don't enjoy dressing up because despite my many talents, creativity is not one of them. So I hated that idea of having to come up with costumes. But I loved seeing, and still love, the costumes kids come up with when they come to the door. That's fun, and complimenting them no matter their age. I just think that's so cool to see what they've done. My only issue, and like everyone else, you may come to my house, no matter how old you are. If you're an adult, you're happy to come. But goodness, put a little effort into it. Throw a witch's hat on, throw a cowboy's hat on, just, do something. So my issue is when you show up and you don't even make an effort to I don't know, put fake lips on or something. Love Halloween, happy to have it, but come on, little effort. And I will also, if you do show up at my house without a costume, I have been known to give you a little bit of a hard time. Now, depending on the age, if you're 5 years old, okay, I'm not going to do it. But if you're 10, 11, 12, 15, 18, and you show up with a pillowcase and nothing else, then I'm certainly going to give you a hard time. I'll give you candy, but I'm certainly going to debate with you as to what was the issue with not even throwing a cowboy hat on. So that is my Halloween story, and I love candy. So I know that's a good part of it too, I think. I will throw it to Kamira.
Good morning. I live in one of those neighborhoods for the first time in my life for the past 7 years, and it's a lot of fun. Halloween is huge here. I cannot overstate that. But it's a lot of fun, and we're exhausted by the end of the night. I'm going to make a plug for the allergy asthma families. We always participate in something we call the Teal Pumpkin Project. We give non-food treats. So we have all kinds of stuff. It is a little more difficult because you got to think of things that aren't going to end up on the street corner or in front of your house. But every so often you get a win. Usually I buy things on sale someplace in bulk. But if I also have food treats for the older kids who aren't necessarily interested in the non-food treats. And I try to keep it simple, like popcorn. A lot of people with allergies can still have popcorn. So I try to be that house that is safe for those kids, because most of the time they're trick-or-treating and then they have to toss the whole bag or give it to a friend. And parents always thank me for that. They really appreciate that. And then I have a tip. If you have teens who, for whatever reason, no longer trick or treat and aren't interested in a party, or maybe aren't having a party, they can hire themselves out. My kids did that when they were teens. So they literally, sometimes they gave the treats away for other neighbors who were going to be working or out of town or something like that, especially in our neighborhood where every house has to be on duty. Or they ran like coat check for other people's Halloween parties. So there are other ways to get your teens involved in the day. I'm going to send it over to...
Wait, Kamira, I just got to ask, what happens in your neighborhood if somebody doesn't give out candy? It sounds like there are some severe social consequences here.
So there aren't severe social consequences, but you are that house. When we first moved to the neighborhood, we were told, oh, Halloween's big. And you're like, how big? And they're like, big. You're like, but tell me how big. And it's huge. It's not big. It's huge. People have haunted garages as just part of what they do. It's not just decorating the homes and giving out cool stuff. Everybody's on their porch. We have little mini parties where all the adults are on their porch while we're giving away the candy. It's a thing.
I'm coming to your house, Kamira. I'm coming to you. Could you just put your address up? Just maybe in the comments.
In the comments for everyone to see. My husband always has wine out there. He loves to be out there.
Oh, I am on my way.
Drinking water.
Okay, so all I kept thinking, Kamira, is I'm so glad I don't live in your neighborhood.
It is intimidating, and then you just have to yield to it. Otherwise, you'll be really frustrated. So, how about you, Jessica? What are your experiences?
There's the unmute button. So my senior year of high school, again, I'm only 26, so I don't have like, a lot of decorating the house stories, but in my senior year of high school, it was starting to get to that place where I was like, I don't know if I should be trick-or-treating anymore. I don't know if I'm, allowed to be trick-or-treating anymore. But I had a friend, and my friend loves making costumes. Like she's still making costumes for like anime conventions and stuff, like super creative ventures like that. So she's always liked that, even when we were in high school. And she was like, all right, you and I have to match for Halloween, and I'm going to help make your costume. And my senior year, my parents were like, are you sure you should be doing this? So shouldn't you be going to parties or something? And I went with my friend. We had matching costumes, went around my neighborhood, and it was still so much fun. I wasn't the kind of person to be invited to many Halloween parties anyway, so I probably wouldn't have been doing anything else, but getting to dress up, getting to encourage my friends' creativity, and of course free food. If you're giving me free food, I will do it. I will dress up, I will do whatever. And I just, I feel like it's one of those, I don't know exactly where the cutoff is. It was probably earlier than 18. I probably shouldn't have been the one trick-or-treating, but it was still so much fun. And I still miss it. I'm living in my own house now, and last year we weren't really able to do much for Halloween other than like a bowl of candy outside the house. This year, I don't think anyone's even going to be home on Halloween to do that, and I've always wanted to be able to pass out the candy to the kids and the teenagers and whoever. But at the very least, I'm going to try to put out a bowl of candy again this year, and maybe next year will be my first Halloween. My first real Halloween as a candy passer outer.
Okay, so I don't know if this happens around the country, but Deborah just shared this, which I think is so wonderful. Dunkin' Donuts, she wrote Dublin, but she meant Dunkin'. Dunkin' Donut holes, I guess there are stations in her neighborhood where they have apple cider and donut holes for the parents and kids to mingle. I don't know if is that provided by Dunkin' Donuts, or is that provided by community people who are just deciding to have a place, Deborah? Anyway, I love the idea. It sounds like Kamira's neighborhood does that already, and mine does nothing. So if you're near us, don't bother. Although you could take my whole thing of candy, because I'll just leave it on the porch and you can get all of it. You could dump the whole thing. That's it. We did it. We shared Halloween. There's really no hate yet, but to everybody who enjoys it, go and have fun. To everybody who doesn't enjoy it, hopefully there's a friend or a partner in your family who makes it fun for your kids. Okay, the Dunkin' Donuts doesn't allow using, I don't understand, Deborah, but neighbors are hosting this. It's not from Dunkin' Donuts, but it's still a great idea. I love it. So everybody, happy Halloween, and don't get over sugared, and have a great time.